Running Free, der Podcast mit Sportphysiotherapeut, Lauf- und Mentaltrainer Florian Reiter. Laufen als deine Basis für körperliches, mentales und emotionales Wohlbefinden. Finde deinen Rhythmus durch achtsame Bewegung in und mit der Natur.
Hi everyone and welcome to today's episode 148 of my podcast Running Free. This is a special episode in English as most of my podcast is usually in German. But today I've got two incredible guests joining me and I didn't want language to stand in way of this conversation. Also, this is a video podcast available in full on Spotify and YouTube, and I really recommend watching it if you can. It was a super fun and entertaining chat with Jess and Jim. At one point a cat walks through the frame, and when we talk about hairstyles, well, let's just say the visuals are worth it. I laughed a lot during this recording. Thanks for this. I'm your host Florian Reiter and I'm thrilled to bring you this conversation with Jess Brazeau and Jim Walmsley. Huge thanks to both of them for being so open, generous and taking the time to join us. I really appreciate that. In this episode, we'll dive into some great stories and insights. We'll talk about Jess' journey from gymnastics into endurance sports and how that background shaped her approach to training and competition. We will also explore Jim's incredible career in ultra and trail running, from record-breaking races to iconic wins at UTMB and Western States. Yes, and beyond the individual achievements, what really stood out for me was how Jess and Jim support each other, both on and off the trails. Their partnership is inspiring and there's so much we can learn from how they approach sport, life and everything in between. So let's jump into the episode. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Yeah, hello and warmly welcome to today's episode. And I'm really excited to have two guests today. We are video podcast. It's Jess Brazeau, and Jim Walmsley. Yeah, warmly welcome. I really appreciate that you two are taking the time today. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for having us on the podcast. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, fun to be on together, but I'm sure we'll have to organize who speaks.
Yeah, I think this is actually our first podcast together.
Yeah,
Is it the first podcast together?
I think so.
maybe. I think we've done some interviews, but podcast, yes.
Yeah, a few interviews and a few really cool videos and the Walmsley film. We will talk about that later. Yeah, it's so nice to have you there. Yeah, Jess as a background as a gymnasiast. How do you call it? Gymnastics?
A gymnast.
Gymnast, yeah, okay. Before transitioning into endurance sport, bringing up a unique perspective on movement, competition, discipline, while also for me, from my point of view, embracing the joy of movement and sharing adventures with others. She's a passionate trail runner. For all of you listeners who don't know her, Jim is one of the I think most accomplished ultra and trail runners, known for his record-breaking performances. Jim, you won the UTMB in 2023. You won the Western States run for about 4 times. You are on both courses, record holder, and so on and so on. And both of you are, for me, really inspiring human beings. There's the record side on the one hand, and the sports, the achievements in sport. But on the other hand, I wanted to invite you both because it's really inspiring for me, and I think for many other people's. How you are doing and how you are achieving goals and how you are supporting each others. And so I really appreciate to chat with you today. Yeah, Jim, let's start with you. How would you introduce Jess? What makes her unique, your wife, and what do you admire about her as a person and an athlete?
Yeah, I kind of always jokingly say that I'm much more personable because Jess like breaks the ice with everyone. Sometimes I'm more serious or kind of standoffish. So Jess is always more outgoing and friendly. So it helps me be a little more social. But yeah, we get along. We both have a big love for running and kind of adventure and a bit of traveling to discover new places. So this has been like a growing passion in our lives together. And then Jess has helped and supported me at pretty much all of my races in the last 8 years. And yeah, a lot of my success is because I have such a good teammate in the background that I think touch wood, but you haven't missed any aid stations ever, I think. And yeah,
Don't put
it's
that
been
out in
good.
the universe.
Well, no, you cancel it by touching wood. So but yeah, that's really impressive in itself with the number of races I've done and the places we've gone and each course being unique. We've done a lot of unique courses only one time, but then we also have been together to do Western States many times and UTMB many times. So like those two races, we have a bit more of a plan and a schedule that we like.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jim. I really appreciate that. Jess, now it's your turn. Could you introduce Jim to us? What should people know about him beyond maybe as being an athlete? What makes him special in your eyes? And yeah, what do you appreciate most about him?
Okay, there's a lot of things that make Jim special. But first off, I think that many people don't know the Jim that I know. And himself as an athlete, he puts on a different hat in public than what you see when we're at home. But at home, he's kind, he's really goofy. He's one of the most caring people ever. And but beyond that, the things that make him a great athlete is just his ability to not quit in the face of failure and just keep persevering no matter what. He's super determined and yeah, it's always amazing to see the consistency that he puts in the hard work and dedication to running and but still moving through life pretty gracefully most of the time. Sometimes he gets grouchy, but it's okay. We all get grouchy when we're running too much. Yeah, that's Jim.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you mentioned it. You are supporting each other, and I saw it last time in Chianti. It was so amazing to see. Yes, Jess, you have been supporting Jim for about so many years now with such a passion. And yeah, when I see it on video, I really have the impression that you're really good in that and you really love to do that. And on the other hand, I saw Jim and the rest of the Hoka crew cheering up you, Jess, during the race and with all in. And you're posting, Jim, it was so open-hearted when you said thank you to your wife, to your partner in trail running crime, and it's not just a sentence. I have the feeling that you really mean it. And my question now is, how do you feel about, first of you, Jess, maybe the question, how do you feel about supporting crewing? What's your point of view to this, to support Jim? Is this stressful? Are you full focused? How is the preparation before a race maybe? And yeah, give maybe a few insights to this topic of crewing and supporting.
I really love crewing and supporting, even maybe more so than my own endeavors. It's really cool to be able to help someone get to their end goal, whether that's just crossing a finish line or racing around a course as fast as you can. But I think just being a part of that whole process and adventure and the build up and seeing the hardships and the ebbs and flows of someone's training block or injuries or setbacks, and what it took to, one, get to the start line, two, during the race, and then finally finishing, is really cool. And I get the same amount of joy from crossing my own finish lines that I do from watching Jim cross his finish lines. It makes me equally as happy to be a part of that and help out. And I don't know, I think maybe from a young age, I'm the oldest of two younger sisters. So I think I've always kind of played a role of being a caretaker and
Mhm.
looking out for people. And that just feels really natural to me, rather than trying to follow my own endeavors individually, because I don't know if that would be as fulfilling for me. And Jim's never once told me you have to be there to crew me. Like you can't go and pursue your own goals and dreams. He's never said that. And he's always been extremely supportive of, if I want to go do my own thing, he'll find someone else. But I just feel like for me, that's not going to be as meaningful. And I really enjoy the balance we have right now and the partnership we have right now. And I'll sprinkle my own goals on the side. And yeah, I think what we've been doing and the flow of life and these races and training blocks and stuff it's been really cool and great experiences. So yeah, I like being there through it all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I see you via the camera, and it's I really feel it that you really like and love this. Also the crewing part. What do you think, Jim, about crewing for Jess? What does it mean to you
Yeah.
when Jess is racing and you are crewing and cheering and
Yeah.
running and making photos and all that stuff?
It's become a little bit of a joke because Jess, whether she's doing OCC or the 50K for Chianti, ended up being excuse me, ended up being non-crewable. So we would drop her off at the start and then we cheer her along on the course, but there's no crewing in between, and we wait for her at the finish. And the joke is that she needs to do maybe like start doing 100 or 200-mile races in order for me to start repaying my debt, because at this point it's it's lopsided, and she gives a lot more to me than I'm able to give back because she prefers a bit shorter distance. But even like Chianti was a big example of lopsided, because my race was the day before her race and it started at 4 a.m. and Jess was there at the first aid station at 6:30 a.m. the day before her race. So it doesn't help you have like this pop in your legs the following day when you've been out crewing all day. So especially this last weekend was a really big sacrifice. That was a good example of Jess being selfless that way. That was in favor of helping me accomplish having my own good race.
Yeah. I think what I learned this weekend is I should probably, I mean, the Chianti Marathon wasn't my A race or anything, but maybe I should not race the same weekend as Jim unless my race is before his race. Because that race hurts so bad. My legs were so tired from the day before, but I forced them to continue on. And everyone was cheering for me. All our friends were there, and I was so lucky to have the best cheer squad. But during the race, I'm like, this hurts. I hate this. I want to quit. And I was trying to have a better attitude when I saw them, but I think I was just too vulnerable because they're all my close friends, and I was just like looking for a reason for them to tell me I can stop. But they didn't.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Congrats to the fifth place. It was amazing to watch, and I can imagine I have been crewing a few times after I stopped doing triathlon quite a lot, and then I realized, oh my God, that's so. I'm ready. I'm done after a crewing day. I was really done, and the next day I had the feeling, okay, I've been racing, but no, I have been crewing. So that was an interesting
Similar feeling.
experience for me.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, how do you handle it before a huge race, for example, UTMB, the crewing and the preparing in the days before? Jim, are you really focused, relaxed? Are you arguing, both of you, because you're so nervous? And How are the days before such a huge race, and the preparation and the hours and days before for you as a couple, as a team and crewing team, and as a you are a couple and you are married, so I can imagine maybe that's really cool, and maybe it's sometimes a little bit challenging, like life
I
is.
think we're always trying to improve because we recognize that we're both under stress, and I feel a lot of stress, and especially UTMB, there's more obligations than normal during the week. So I need to be really good at time management in order to not be as stressed myself, because I can be a little short tempered, which is just unnecessary, and tends to be towards like the people closest around me. But for the most part, I think we've improved on that over the years,
Oh
and
yeah,
it
definitely.
goes pretty well. A lot of that's about bringing in the right size team around us as well, because we build maybe like 5-person teams total, to offload, and we have really good friends that also help Jess to help manage me, but also my obligations and stress
Yeah.
and training. And so I think figuring out the balance of what size team it takes to spread the stress out enough that no one's overstressed, and we can actually have a relaxing week before the race with friends.
Yeah.
And it ends up being a
Yeah.
really nice week if we do it correctly.
Yeah, it feels a little bit more normalized to bring in a couple other people. At least that people that we're really close with that actually help us decompress rather than add more stress. So, like Jim said, that's super important. I think my pre-UTMB or Western States during those big races, that week for me is extremely different than Jim's. I feel like a chicken running around with my head cut off. Trying to finalize all the last minute details. I do a lot of prep beforehand, but still there's some stuff that has to wait until the
Right.
final days before. So for me, yeah, like Jim said, it's really nice to have other people around to delegate some tasks to, and that way I don't feel like I'm doing all of it. It's gotten better the last few years. I think in the beginning, maybe the first couple UTMBs, like stress was really high and we would get in a little bit of arguments quite often, but
Yeah,
I think that's starting to go away now that we've found more of a routine specifically with that
I think
race.
stress has gone down a lot racing in Europe since our commitment to move over to Europe and kind of learn to be more familiar with the lifestyle and the ebbs and flows of on time, not on time, and kind of more just the mannerisms and culture involved with people rather than coming over last minute as an American and not understanding why you can't find this or everyone's closed for lunch, but you need to eat lunch, and well, it doesn't work that way. So I think it's been an overall improvement of us feeling more comfortable in France, and whether it's Italy and other countries in Europe, to have more of this adaptability approach than we've had say 8-9 years ago when I was coming over a bit younger, but perhaps more fit at times, but not able to
adapt.
yeah, that like basically those little things add up in stress that then reduce performance at the end of the day. And it's about being less stressed so that you can worry more about performance.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And yeah, my wife, Catherine, and I, we are a team now about 20 years. And when I look back in the beginning, she was really often crewing for me at triathlon and running competitions. And so we learned to talk to each other in another way. And I think that's really, really fun when you mentioned it too. At the beginning, it was more stressful. It was more arguing, yes, because of living in the US maybe and traveling to Europe. But on the other hand, yeah, it's evolving. It's we learn each other better and to communicate. And so I think that's so wonderful to see when a couple is growing together, supporting each other, supporting each other's ways, and growing as a couple and growing as individuals.
Yeah, I think if you look at a lot of other elites, like some elites like their partner crewing and some elites don't, but I think there's advantages and disadvantages, and if you know how to hone it in with your partner, there's a lot of advantages to be able to know each other and to take away body language signals of how you're doing. This is
Hello.
Moochie.
This is Moochie.
Hi.
Okay, I'll put him outside.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This is we're in Aresh right now, and we're staying with our friends Simone and Laura, and they have a cute cat, but he wants attention right now.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I already had a few cat and dog guests in my video podcasts.
Well, this one's Moochie, so you can give him credit. But yeah, I think we is out of our relationship with just being able to support and crew me.
Yeah.
I think also before races, the earlier I can plan out all of my nutrition and get it organized, like if I can do this
Like his most stressful
2 or
thing.
3 days before instead of 8 hours before or the day of,
Saves a lot of energy
I
for
think
everyone.
this takes a lot of stress off of everyone, but it's one of the more like stressful decisions, and especially if the weather is changing and gear and what tops you want to change. And then nowadays, like really, I think where we're trying to improve is kind of keep up with everyone else, in that I need to be faster through aid stations. So this is where we're trying to improve this year, and I think we were pretty happy with Chianti this last weekend. Like we were really fast where we needed to be, but then as a gap grows, I get to take a little more time in order to make sure I'm not making any mistakes. And yeah, things went really, really well at Chianti. I was happy with that.
Yeah, no, that was good. I think sometimes you like to linger a little bit at aid station.
I mean, when I first started ultra running, I would sit every time, no matter what.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I would take 3 minutes and I'd run out and I'd realize I did nothing and I forgot things. And
this was before we were in a relationship.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. And in the sport, like I got absolutely smoked last year at Western States. I had a bit of a foot shoe problem of a hot spot that I needed to try to prevent to become a big problem. And so that was part of the issue. But in general, like everyone, I was just amazed. I hadn't ran Western States in a few years, and many people came in ready to not stop at all.
Stopping, yeah.
And just like, what?
Yeah.
So that this part is evolving in the sport as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's great to hear. Anything to add, Jess?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you're really good at taking care of yourself when you need to, even if that's at the cost of losing a few minutes. Like the shoe thing at Western States, that wasn't something that could just be ran through at the aid station and be ignored. So I do think you're really good at listening to your internal cues in your body, and when you need to do something to focus on what's going to set you up for 3 hours into the race or maybe 5 hours into the race.
Probably the biggest adjustment at Chianti was most aid stations I was taking on extra salt because my calves were cramping.
Yeah.
I was having a lot of I think my calves are still
It doesn't normally happen.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, my calves were really, really overworked very early in the race, and I was taking on more salt to make sure I don't have to DNF because of this.
Yeah, but it's fun. Every race is a learning experience because they're all super different. So the way the aid stations play out and the Korean play out is always just slightly different than the race we've done in the past. And yeah, there's always fun things to reflect on and discuss together and improve upon.
Yeah, how do we do it? When you reflect on it and the learning lessons after a race, do you write this down, or is it just in your head and you communicate with each other?
So we've written some stuff down, but
like UTMB, we keep a year note.
Yeah. because that race is so much longer and it requires more details for Korean. So that one we get a little more nerdy and write some things down. And sometimes we run through when Jim has long training runs, we'll do some practice aid stations.
Yeah, what really helps when we travel abroad is to arrive this is an advantage of being a professional with it, rather than like doing a quick trip to a place, is that I arrive 2 weeks before and I start to recon the course and take notes where the aid stations are, and we make sure that we both have it on like our Google Maps and that it's downloaded offline. It's really important. Because driving around the world changes a lot of stress. Maybe sometimes doing it at night is good because the streets are empty.
Yeah, no, it takes a lot of stress away to be able to. We're lucky we were able to get to the race early. And for me, driving around the week before the race, the 2 weeks before the race, by the time the race happens, I usually don't even need to use Google Maps, which is, for me, it's like, I'm very confident in where I'm going, so then I don't miss an aid station, and I'm very familiar with the area, and that really, really lowers my stress, and helps me be able to focus a little bit better on the crewing aspect rather than just the driving.
Yeah, I can imagine this. And does there any event come in mind where something went wrong in crewing, where maybe you didn't get the point at the right time or something like that? And if it was in the past, how do you react, Jim or Jess?
Never missed an aid station.
Never missed an aid station.
Maybe.
Yeah, touch wood.
Yeah, touch wood.
It could happen anytime, especially like if you understand the race.
The biggest mistake I've made is I didn't realize that Jim had an extra flask for his gear for UTMB. So I think from Champelac to Trient, he was carrying like an extra 500 mils full of water. So it was heavy for him.
And double nutrition. So at least a kilogram heavier pack.
So I loaded him up with
this was
too many
UTMB 2022 when I was in the lead.
Yeah.
And I left with like a really heavy pack. And I'm like,
why is it so heavy?
I feel terrible. Like, this is the point where I should have a light pack. I should be flying. And all the stuff was in the back, like hidden with my stuff.
That's not the reason though why
the bottle was in the
back.
It played a factor in my mind.
Yeah, mentally it broke him down a little bit that his pack was too heavy.
Plus I was breaking, plus my stomach, plus Gillian and Matthew were coming back.
That's been my biggest mistake.
A combination of things. But my pack was really heavy when I left, and I was just, I don't feel good. So it's really important, like, to make sure you take everything you were supposed to eat, whether you ate it or not.
Yeah.
Everything comes out and then repack again. For us, that system is really important because then you know what you have in your pockets. You have to eat before you get to the next place. And then I do more time-based splits these days. Rather, distance really doesn't matter. It will be like perceived effort and time. And then I'm lucky that many race courses, they make a time chart for like, this is the fastest possible. And generally, I just take this plan and I can apply it to my race plan, and it's somewhere close.
Oh, lucky you.
Where I feel bad for everyone else because they have to like, okay, this is the fastest, this is the slowest, I'm somewhere between. And you have to guess like what's in between, and maybe a percentage is best if you can figure out like a percentage you are from the fast or the slow. And but it makes many races easier game plan for me.
That's what you do for me. That helps me with crewing. He writes all my splits usually.
I usually do drive time. And
no, but for my races too.
I break her races down.
And he usually writes my splits.
When I do that, I'll base it generally historically. I'll find a year that ran the same course. So you got to make sure it's the same course or similar. And then you can find someone similar on the ITRA score you want. And so if they have like, sometimes Jess is trying to do 7:20 for ITRA.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have a female that ran 720, you can try to look at their splits a bit as well, especially if they upload the data. Then you can go on the GPX and actually see where they go through the aid stations. And I'll make those split charts for Jess this
I
way.
appreciate that you do that, because for me, it's too much effort.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool to see and to hear. You mentioned the UTMB 2022. I was invited there from a team to, as an expert and watching it, and it was so amazing. And we were staying overnight at a little bit below Grand Conforé, and I was running uphill in the morning. And then the first guy I saw, I came up there, and then Jim, you came and ran across me and a little bit behind Killian, and then it was amazing, and the finish, and it was a tough and a hard race for you. And there's the film, I will link it in the show notes. And there was the situation many people commented, and it was a really touching situation in the aid station where, Jim, you looked a little bit lost, and I think, as far as I can remember, you apologized a little bit. I'm not sure whether I can hold them off. And Jess, you have been so in your power, and you said, you will do it. It's fine. There's the direction where you have to go. How do you handle this, Jess, in this moments, to stay so positive and clear and supporting, even if he won't get the win today?
I don't know. Ultimately, like, what I want to do is just give him a big hug and pull him off the course and say, okay, you can be done now. It's okay. You did great. But I don't know. At the end of the day, whether he finishes first or he finishes last, we have our life together, and that's all that matters. And winning doesn't always matter. And we're still going to have the same experiences and adventures together, whether he's first place or last place. So to me, it's just, do the best you can. And obviously he's always doing the best he can. It's not like there's never a lack of trying with Jim. So I can't be angry or upset at all. So I think my biggest trait that comes through is empathy and encouragement, and just to try to keep him moving and believing in himself.
In general, you have a lot more empathy than me. Because when Jess is doing the marathon this last weekend, and she's just like, I don't feel good. My legs, they're not working today. And I just kind of
but
I'm not like tough love.
No, he's super tough love. So he's actually, for me, which is good, because I'm a person who will break down and be a bit vulnerable during a race. And he makes sure that I keep moving because he knows I can do it. And even if I feel like I can't do it, but he screwed me at a couple 80K races. And I think I called him at one when I had maybe 14. No. I had probably 26K left of the race, and I called him. I had a bloody nose. My knee was hurting. And I just said, come pick me up. I'm done. I don't want to finish. And he said, absolutely not. He said, the drive is 3 hours for me to get there. You can run this 26K faster than I can drive there. So you will finish the race. I'll see you at the finish line. And then he hung up. So then I just started crying and walking out of the aid station. And then eventually I ended my pity party.
It finished on a really long downhill. So she just needed to get over it, and then it's just down to the finish.
Yeah. And of course I'm happy that happened.
You're really happy by the end that you made it, because I think you had a lot of doubt.
Definitely. Yeah. I think I need that a little bit more of an aggressive push sometimes to believe in myself and get myself to do something that's hard.
That was Run Rabbit Run 50 mile.
Yeah, that was Run Rabbit Run 50 mile. But I don't think I'd ever have Jim as a pacer. Nope. Yeah. Just crew. He's great at crewing. I don't think I could have him pace me. I think I would get way too frustrated.
Oh, that's
exactly.
amazing.
He would be, stop complaining. Because when we do run together, and I know that this is not fair to myself, and it's my own problem that I compare myself to Jim when we're running, but sometimes he'll do some of my longer runs with me as really easy efforts for him. And he'll just be behind me, just, and I'm just sitting there dying and thinking like, why is this so hard for me? And it's not at all hard for you. You're not even breathing hard. This sucks. I suck. What the heck? So I think maybe not Pacer, but he's a great crew.
Oh, that's amazing. Um, Come to the film again. There was a situation, Jim, where you said, yeah, you have been the first American male trail runner who won UTMB, but there were so many inspiring women who paved the way. And that was for me personal, such an important message to name this, that there have been so many great women. Often the focus, I've been talking with Emily about this topic too, that often the focus is maybe on Killian or on Jim, but there are so amazing achievements from so many women. What's your point of view to this topic, Jim and Jess?
Yeah, I think it's about increasing the microphone and the attention for women, and it's not fair to be a journalist at the finish line somewhere and misspeak like this in front of people. And yeah, I guess I'm proud that the reaction was without thinking, that plenty of women have done this before me, American women. And I mean, especially right now with Katie Scheid and Courtney DeWalter, like really setting the front pace of women trail running.
I mean, they're mixing it up with the top 20 overall in the
Yes.
men. So why not give them equal credit where it's due?
Or more, yeah.
Or more. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing amazing things. And yeah, women's trail running is just as exciting as men's trail running. And yeah, luckily for as Americans, like the women have a rich history of doing really, really well. I think probably on the women's side, it might be the most successful country there.
Yeah.
Whereas on the men's side, for sure, France is the most successful. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the shout out for that at the interview and correcting the journalist is really nice, because to uplift women's sports and get equality in sport, we can't do it ourselves. And for men to have the bigger microphone than we have at the moment, it's really, really important that figures like Jim and Killian and Vincent and whoever else do, they're great at uplifting their partners and women overall and speaking up. And yeah, I mean, as a female athlete and trail runner, I appreciate that. And it's really encouraging and respectful.
Yeah, that's so important, I think, and there's way more to do. And even in my podcast as a man, and I'm really privileged. I'm a white man living in Central Europe, and I try to use this platform from podcast to talk about this, to take the microphone, like you said, Jess, and that's really, really important. Yeah, coming to the film, it has over 1 million views. It's 90-minute long films. What are when you look to this project and to this film and these reactions and the working with Ansel Dickey, who was the filmer and got really close to you. What do you think about this, that this film became so popular and with a little bit of distance? What do you think about this project? Jess, at first, maybe.
Okay. I really enjoyed doing the project overall. I think that's mostly because of Ansel, and our relationship that we developed with him from the very beginning was very honest and respected. And he's always been a friend first before a filmmaker and a photographer. And that's really important. So he knows when to put the camera down and when to pick the camera up. But always, it's just so easy for us to be our natural selves around him. And he's just a great human being overall. So it's very simple, and you get the organic interactions that you see in the film that are truly us, because Ansel is so comfortable to be around and a great friend as well. I also think he's a super talented filmmaker. But yeah, watching myself it's a little awkward still. But I do think of it as like this grand souvenir of such a cool time in our lives, that we're really like that opportunity we had to live abroad and get introduced into the French culture and European culture is so amazing. And it's kind of like a souvenir that we get to watch. And relive all these memories over and over again with beautiful scenery and really high graphics and color and quality. So it's really cool.
Yeah, for us, it's more like the best little time capsule of a special time coming over. It's like cringy of how prepared we were to come over,
We're
and
not prepared at all.
so we've learned a lot, and we still have so much more to learn and to do to be I guess more in sync with community here. And I mean that starts off with language and
Yeah, to be more integrated.
yeah. So, but the film itself was never a goal to make like a 90-minute film. It was to make several like 15-minute films. But then it was Ansel and Matt Porter with Wahoo who kind of saw that they were capturing moments, and all of a sudden things were lining up of like, especially in 2022, they were hoping that maybe the story would be finished there. But unfortunately, I guess I've dragged it out for another year. But Wahoo and Hoka came on board as co-sponsors of that, and I've had really supportive sponsors for my personal goals, and this is an example of that. And so they both kind of double down to want to make it so what was supposed to be standalone short stories became, wait, let's hold the next couple and then let's really release it as a long format film. And for a long format film, it's quite unique. But yeah, it feels awkward to have a video of yourself. Like we're not actors, we're not very good in front of the camera in general. So it feels exposing at times, but you see how it can affect someone and move them and inspire people to do big things and to dream. So this is always worth more, to give people a dream to experience some of the stuff that we've been so fortunate to be able to do.
Yeah, and I have to say that I disagree that you mentioned that you are not good in front of the camera because you are not a good actor. Uh, for me, it was so authentic, and it was so, yeah, this is, I got the impression of Jim and Jess, and it was not actoring. So it was, okay, you are, yeah, you're yourself, and that was great. And that's not played, and you are not playing a role. I had the feeling, wow, Ansel and the team, they got it really in a good way, picture and the audio and the talks. It was, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Thanks for
and
that.
Ansel's really cool because he's one of the few guys that he's super fit. So he loves like bringing this big red camera up to peaks everywhere, and he's good at skiing, he's good at running, he's really
like
good at
one
biking.
of the only filmmakers that can actually like keep up with Jim. So that's
A bit.
yeah.
With the camera, we have to do short intervals, but yeah.
Sure. Yeah, a good friend of mine is Philip Reiter, and we are making together trail running camps, and he's also one of the guys with the cameras and running up and down.
Yeah,
exactly.
Philip
It's
too. Yeah, he's
amazing.
very good too.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, he
amazing.
was a professional young runner,
Yeah.
so not so surprising.
Yeah. What do you think about saying no to a person, to a request, to an interview, so what do you think about this? Is it easy for you, Jess and Jim, to say, no, I have no time, I have another focus?
I'll go first. I'm not as great at saying no as Jim is. I'm getting better at drawing boundaries and being a bit more selective on choosing things that align with me and feel right. Whereas Jim's pretty good at not answering any messages or emails. So then things just slip by, and I'm a little bit more attentive like that because I feel like obligated to give a response to someone. But you're really good at not. I mean, I don't know, drawing boundary lines for sure.
Well, I guess I'm less in tune to the messages that I receive. Like I mean, when I first started ultra running, Facebook was maybe the biggest platform, and like very quickly things broke down. Like I used to, and I see it with Vincent, like he tries to reply to everything. I'm like, oh, that's not gonna last. Like you're gonna be so exhausted. And like, so I've been more, you could say numb to checking. Yeah, unfortunately, like I missed probably some really good opportunities to reach out to people or respond to people that would be really impactful. But yeah, unfortunately, these 1-2 minutes add up to be quite exhausting to stay on top of. It's not my strong suit, so for me, I'm just truly not watching so much for requests these days. And
Yeah, but it's
essentially, if someone's motivated, they will find a way to ask. And then it's about, especially around races, I'll be more inclined to say no because I need to protect my time around races. But around training, if someone wants to do something like this, then I generally have no problem. But these days, people need to be a bit more motivated, I guess, to contact me.
Yeah, but I think the difference too between Jim and I is that he has an overwhelming amount of requests, where I get maybe 2 handfuls of requests. So it's a little bit easy to filter and respond to people, whereas I mean, no one should ever expect him to go through his thousands and thousands of DMs on Instagram.
No.
Which it's really, yeah, it should be really heartwarming that people are reaching out, but also at the same time,
Yeah.
it's overwhelming.
And I don't see for myself like ever going to a degree of professionalism where I hire someone or
Yeah,
no, not really.
not your style.
It's not my priority either.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty lucky that I've been able to make the running my priority because this is my true passion and what I like doing. And the like notoriety and the requests and this stuff has come because of the running, where too many people think that you need a balance of performance and social media, but I'm a bit more of a purist that thinks that social media is not as important. And when you have a good performance and you line up the pieces around you, like I always try to bring our friend Marzel with us to increase my own posting during race week and stuff, because I know it's an important time for me to be in the limelight. But I look at training as like it's not so important for me to stay on top of posting once a week, once a day. So I don't stress as much about it, and I have sponsors who are supportive of this approach as well. And
Nice.
so I don't have as many obligations as maybe other shoe or other brands.
Other
ask.
athletes, ask their athletes for sure. Yeah,
It's
a
harder
really
with smaller sponsors that want to be a smaller sponsor. It would work, but then all they want out of it is posting. So in general, like for me, this sort of relationship doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that's inspiring for many other people because to look where the energy flows and where you focus, and you're focused on this, that's your job, that's your passion. And if you don't really love and like posting and communicating on Instagram, so that's the way. And it's I think it's good and important to say, no, my focus is somewhere else.
Yeah,
Maybe
I really love talking to people in person now.
Yeah.
I think this is a place, like sometimes when I go back to like an Airbnb or home, I realize like, oh, I'm quite tired, but genuinely I do like talking to passionate people that love running too.
Yeah.
So like I mean, even in a discussion within a brand, they were like, oh, we want to open up, we want to try to find a project that makes you like more approachable to a bigger audience. And I said, well, me as a person and what I love, like I said, I love the nerds of running, the true passionate people the most, because I bond with them the most. And me, I'm a bit more of an introvert. So to be able to talk about running and have a similar shared passion, it's always broken down a wall to talk to people. And yeah, it helps me a lot, I guess, like socially, to be able to have running to talk about with people.
Yeah, Thanks for sharing that. Jess, before we come to the community questions, Jess, one question. What do you think, what's Jim's unique approach? And if there is someday maybe a book about the Jim's method or something like that, I heard it in one podcast. What do you think, what makes Jim's training approach so unique, so special, so successful? What's I don't know, what's the key approach?
Well, I think that one of the main things is he's super courageous and not afraid to really work hard towards something, even if it doesn't go well. The first time I mentioned before, one of his best attributes is that he doesn't back down in the face of failure. And when a goal doesn't go as according to plan, he goes back and attacks it with even more concentration and passion. I think one of the big things that Jim does is, I like to say he's a light switch. He's on or off. And when he's on, he's very, very focused on one thing. And maybe for good and for bad, it's tunnel vision. And he just has the goal in mind. And I think that's one of his strongest suits is when he needs to turn on for a running and a goal, he's on. And then when he needs to turn off and relax, he's very good at being compartmentalized with that. So that's one of the very strong suits. I think for him, which, may not make him relatable to other people, but it's what makes him unique and what makes him excel at running. But also, too, you're really talented.
Yeah.
Yeah. But extremely hardworking.
I think as I've gotten older, though, like when I was younger, I could get away with more work or working harder meant more work.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I'm working much
You're working
smarter
smarter, yeah.
to try to, I can't train how I used to train 5-8 years ago. Like I look at my training and it was just insane. Like, and also just a bit of madness. Like there's no methodology to it. And I got away with doing a lot of volume. And one thing that I have had is general durability with training and high mileage. That's a unique attribute. But you start to get to a level where now you look around and there's many people like
Doing
you,
that.
and you're like,
Yeah.
like now we have a problem. So in an increasingly competitive sport, I need to make sure I'm training more specific and preparing and making sure my energy is correct going into races with like freshness.
That's so interesting. Thanks a lot. So now, when it's okay for you, I have a few community questions and then a short speed round for the finish. Is this okay for you?
Perfect.
The community questions, maybe there are a few where we could talk 10 minutes. Please keep it short. And I got quite a lot of questions. We will see. You don't have to answer to each question. There's one question to Jess. Jess, what was it like running through all that snow last year at Wildstrobel?
I think I made the mistake of wearing shorts. My legs were so cold. But the second part of the race was in a flat valley, and it was great to have the shorts. But I don't run through snow too often, so that was a big challenge for me. My biggest motivation was just to try to keep Ingvild in sight, and eventually she disappeared on me, but I saw her on the descent. But yeah, running through the snow was we were sliding everywhere. It was super cold, but I think the most horrible part was it was really foggy, so it was really disorienting. So I had no idea where I was on the course, if I was getting close to the top of the climb. Are we still climbing? What's going on? It was pretty wild.
That would have happened to you, Jim. I can imagine running into in shorts when it is snowing. Am I correct there?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I've had a situation in Spain once, and the whole race kind of slinkied together.
Yeah.
And so mentally, I was just like, okay, don't push through the snow. Like, just try to maintain where you want to be position-wise. And then once you start getting more runnable sections, just try to explode out and attack.
Yeah.
So
Snow is such an energy suck too. It's
hard to
push. Yeah, it's almost pointless to try to push so much. Yeah, that's what I was thinking most of the time. I was thinking smooth is fast, fast is smooth. Not
slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
That's yours. I have my own.
Another question to both of you. Maybe you can mention something. What are your future races in this year?
I'll go first. I'm training to try to qualify for the USA team for the Trail World Championships in the Pyrenees
Yes.
in September. So I think I will do races back to back at Broken Arrow. There's the ascent on a Friday, and then the very next day there's the short trail qualification race. So I'm going to put my hat in that ring and see how it goes. It's going to be really hard though. There's a very, very strong U.S. women's.
So Broken Arrow will probably shape the rest of you.
Yeah, Broken Arrow is going to be the decider of the rest of my season. And if I don't qualify, maybe I'll do a longer race at one of the race in Europe somewhere, maybe in the end of August or beginning of September.
Yeah. And then I'm still signed up for the Broken Arrow Ascent again the week before Western States.
Yeah.
And then I'll do Western States, and then we'll come back to Aresh in Europe. And then I need to see how I recover. I have a qualification for UTMB. It has not worked well in the past to do both. I've still never finished both Western States and UTMB. But it's hard to say no. But at the same time, I think I will apply for the World Trail Team. So this year, at least, I have the long course, so the 80K. I have an excuse to say don't do it this year. You can take one more month, and the energy should be better. But yeah, I don't know. I also, one of my sayings is when the pan is hot, you have to cook. So some years, I think if it continues to go how Chianti went, then for me, I have to press.
Again, we try the double.
I don't know. So I will keep my options open. But I will probably be at the 80K World Trail Champs, whether I do UTMB or not. So I'd be almost looking at a triple with that. I don't know. Pogacar can do it.
It's not finally decided. All the people who are watching the video podcast will see the emotions of Jess next to Jim when he's talking about the double. It's not finally decided.
Yeah, I have time to do UTMB in the future.
Yeah. It's just a really hard double, and the women have proven to do it successfully, but men have not done it successfully yet on the
I still need to recover from this last race. I have I'm not completely healthy this week, and hopefully things improve and I'm back to training very soon. But this week is kind of a planned, for the most part, mandatory off. But because it's been a long block to come back from injury last year. But I'm still struggling with a similar or the same thing, and I have to balance training with keeping that healthy. So, but it's been a planned week off. So when I get back to Flagstaff, hopefully I'm back progressing again.
Yeah. That sounds great. A technical question. Why do you still prefer the Tecton X2.5 over the X3 for some races after the X3 release? I'm not so deep dived into this topic. That was a question.
I have a special version of the 2.5 that is a little different, but so the stack height is more like the 2, but it's a bit lighter, more nimble. So for me, I prefer it. I can use different length lugs for different conditions, so I can still get longer lugs on this version for me. Whereas the 3 has really great grip, but if I can modify the 2.5 that I use, then this one's still lighter and I prefer it. But it's like this for me, and like Vincent can fit in the same size, but the 3 has a bit more consumer durability in mind. And ruggedness, where
a little bit more of
where I
more
think
shoe.
Consumers would be quite disappointed with the shoe I'm using, because sometimes you can cut the foam and have some issues with it that would affect durability.
Yeah,
But
it breaks down a lot quicker.
but if you run on consistent terrain, the foam is the foam is the same as the 3.
Yeah.
So I'm still in the same foam. But yeah, it's something I'm comfortable with at this point.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Roman wanted to know how much lactates does Jim run his 100K and ultras? Do you know that?
What was that?
The lactate level when you're running in a 100-mile race.
I don't know. So I've just gotten into lactate testing this last 2 months.
Just this year, yeah.
I did my first lactate test
In February.
maybe 6 to 8 weeks before Chianti. And numbers were really, really good, but which was nice to see. But it's the first time I ever went to a laboratory to do any testing for anything. And for me, it's nervous because I guess in a way I'm more human, that I have my own self-doubts that I'm not a VO2 of 95 or 90, like some incredible thing. And I feel more vulnerable that I'm just a regular person, which I think is normal to have doubts. So I get worried about testing, but I've tried to do more lactate testing about training and controlling my training. And actually this block I've slowed down my intervals. But for ultra, it's really interesting because for the most part, you're probably below LT1. Yeah, I mean, even 100K road pace is well below my LT1. So there's less studying on what you're doing and how you're accumulating, but you do have a drift throughout it. So at some point, I mean, I'm sure I was at threshold for a long time during my last 100K. I think the 100K road is one of the most awful torture device distances. It's really, really hard. But I've been satisfied with how hard I push. So I'm quite happy with what I did. The only regret now is that I've never done a road race in like these new foams. When I did my 100K, it was in a regular EVA.
Yeah.
So it still makes me a little curious, but I know it's really hard race and really hard training.
That's super interesting.
Short answer is no, I don't know my lactate and the stuff, but maybe I will try to do some testing and some smaller races. But for me, it's not worth the time to test at Western States because I need to go.
Time for that.
There's other. I'm a bit of a dork, so I could talk a lot, but yeah, more or less that answers the question.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. Then there was one question, many questions. I already saw it on social media. Jim, why does Jim hide his training? Why isn't posting on Strava anymore? There were a few questions. What was your decision to stop posting on Strava?
Yeah, I mean, I think it first started with an injury.
Yeah.
And training for a race and not having ideal training and confidence. So you kind of get back off for short terms like this. So I think it's fairly normal, but I realized, I guess, two things. One, I'm kind of like angry with Strava that it's incentivized it as a social media a lot more than it used to be. I would say it used to be more purely based off of running, and there was no promotions and priority in the feed. So I think this irritates me from a purity standpoint of the app, that they prioritize influencers, and now these influencers who don't run the same, like they have these mega profiles, but it's not the same to me. So there's a bit jaded towards Strava and how it's changed. And then just the lack of stress involved with showing my training. And now, especially being able to appreciate training in a proper zone that is more beneficial for me without pressure to, I mean, especially when I was younger, it was more of a fun game because I was strong enough to go hard and then and go hard again. And I was just young enough to recover. But now if I go too hard, I feel terrible, and you can see the dip afterwards. And maybe I just feel more exposed. And I also think people have like analytical tools on Strava to see more data that you don't necessarily want people to see. So it just became enough reason, and I enjoyed being off of it with not pressure and not having to check comments or anything, that I decided not to return to Strava the same. And I don't have any sponsor obligations to post on Strava. So for me, there's no incentivization to do it. And now it becomes my advantage in my privacy data that I have my data and I can analyze this. And especially when people are trying to beat me at Western States, they need to figure out how to do better on their own. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for these clear words. It makes absolutely sense to me. Before we come to the questions from your brother, one question to both of you, or maybe Jess, you can answer it. Is from Sophie, is a daily life routine as a couple important to you? And if yes, how do you maintain that when traveling, racing often, or if life is super busy?
I think we're really lucky in the fact that we don't hold a normal daily routine that most couples have, where they leave and spend the day at their jobs and not with each other, where we spend most of our moments waking or sleeping together, for good and for bad. Mostly good. But yeah, no, it's great. We move through life together, which really gives us a really unique and deep understanding of each other on a day-to-day basis. I would say in Europe we spend more time together because it's a little bit more essential for our teamwork and to accomplish stuff together in Europe, because it's a little bit more difficult since it's not our country of origin, not our mother language. So we really lean on each other a lot for help with that. But in Flagstaff, I have a really great community of women that I run and train with, so I'm gone a lot more. So I go and hang out with my friends a lot. And I'm more extroverted and I really value those social connections and relationships. So I've definitely struggled a little bit in Europe with that, not having that as readily as I do in the United States. But yeah, I think being able to be with each other every day really holds some fun, like, and unique insights to each other's lives and how we grow as a couple. And yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything to say?
In general, I think for us to function, like, we have to figure out our coffee routine in the morning.
Yeah, that.
Where we travel. So we
It's-
have like a travel grinder and AeroPress figured out. So that's our go-to when we're traveling. And then in general, we always have dinner together.
Yes.
So
Every night. That's very
I would say those two things are maybe most important when we're training and traveling.
those
But
are our most consistent.
for the most part, the traveling and the racing is really a minority of our day-to-day lives. And for the most part, our days are more consistent and boring, not so exciting. And if I've had a boring training block, I think in general, that's a very, very good sign. If there's nothing exciting about it, consistency is just still, even for me, the most important thing I can do. And I think Jess finds this too, because you think nothing special of your training, but when you go to test on race day, especially when you're training controlled, you just feel really good and you can push. And this is really important if you want to compete.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Now I have 3 questions from William Walmsley. The first one is, did Jess give Jim a Coke at an aid station when she was a volunteer at Western States?
This is true.
I disagree. I think I said, "Ciao, Bella," and I ran through the aid station.
No, you didn't. You stopped and looked at the Coke. There's video evidence of it.
It's disappeared.
Next way.
Ongoing joke that I say no and she says yes.
Yeah, we met before. Actually,
But that's the first time we ever met. But she was volunteering at Western States 2016.
at Forest Hill.
But we didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Your favorite Star Wars quote? Because he said you got married on May the 4th, you should know something.
Mine's never tell me the odds. So this is this blind belief of ignorance of like doing something impossible.
Yeah, no, I like that one a lot. I honestly would have to dig into the archives of Yoda because I feel like I would relate to something like that, but I can't think of
Just
anything.
likes the wisdom of Yoda.
I like the wisdom of Yoda, but I can't. I will do Yoda justice, and I will not say a quote inaccurately. So maybe I can respond to William on
Yeah.
my own.
And the third question from William, who takes longer to get ready and spends more time in the hair?
Oh,
What do you mean? Oh,
I don't know.
it's
Probably
100% Jess.
that's me. Most of
Like no contest. I do nothing.
yeah, that's true.
I need to just get a haircut because I just tie it up nowadays, and I can't get. I didn't grow up with long hair, so it looks horrible. But
Yeah, with the humidity too, you wake up and it's like you look like a lion.
yeah.
Thanks
But
for
Yeah.
that.
I don't care so much. So
Yeah, no, it takes me longer to do my hair, but I know I've gotten comments on the UTMB live broadcast that people have commented on my hair, and it takes me 15 minutes to do it. So it's
Yeah.
not a huge time investment for me. Luckily, I have some natural waves, so yeah. It's not there's no big beauty routine.
Yeah, thanks for that. A few speed round questions from me to the finish. Who is quicker to get frustrated during training?
me.
Who is more likely to get lost on the trails?
Me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Jim, if you could ever crew for Jess at any race, which one would it be?
Probably Western States.
No.
No.
That race is hard.
She's always dreamed of this race, though.
I have, but now it's kind of died. I need to find a new. It just looks too hard.
Maybe CCC.
Maybe CCC. That could be
Yeah,
cool.
we will see CCC or Western State. Who is better at pacing themselves? Yes.
Racing into what?
Pacing myself. I'm much better. You just full gas and hold on.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Who is more likely to overpack for a trip?
Right.
Yep. Me.
Jess, yeah.
Yeah.
Who has more swear words in their repertoire?
Me.
Yes. What's something that other one does that always makes you laugh? Is there something that makes you laugh?
Oh. Makes you laugh. I don't know. I think when you live together and spend so much time together, there's more things that's like, well, I don't know. That one's a hard one.
Yeah.
Jim doesn't always do well. I mean, he does little things that make me laugh all the time. But one memory is he wasn't paying attention. Not that this is a big deal, but I videotaped him coming out of the women's restroom in a public bathroom, and he was so embarrassed. I knew it would be embarrassing for him, so that's why I filmed it. But it's really, in reality, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Who is better speaking French?
Oh yeah, sometimes I have a lot of like kale or lettuce in my teeth.
She eats a lot of like green things. She always has something in her teeth. So
You like-
I'm your buddy that has to check your teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this from my wife and myself. Yeah, it's great. The look showing the teeth are perfect. Who is better speaking French?
Jim.
Me, yeah.
Who hears the alarm clock first in the morning?
Oh, definitely Jim. I don't even hear his alarm clock sometimes.
Yeah.
I am like completely a log in the morning. I know I don't know what's going on. Like an avalanche could have happened and I slept through it.
Who is more patient?
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. You're pretty patient too, but I think I have more patience.
Depends on training.
Yeah, it depends on the situation.
Yeah. What's a dream travel destination you still have on your list?
Oh,
You go.
I don't know. I mean, I think I really want to go to. We haven't really explored the northern part of Norway. We've been to Bergen,
Yeah.
but we haven't been up to like Tromsø in that area of Norway. So that I think that would be really cool. Scotland is another one for
Yeah.
me. I would really like to go see. South
I
America,
want to do Japan.
Japan, yeah.
Ah,
Slovenia too.
yeah. Amazing places. Last question, Jim. What's something you have learned from Jess, whether in running life or just as a person?
I mean, again, I think it goes to she helps me keep like the social part of my life alive. I think I would let my life get too focused, and I'm not as happy this way. Like I'm more, even if I try to avoid it, I'm more happy with friends around and doing things. Even though like sometimes I look at it as energy, but Jess is always dragging me to do things in groups and play games and
Yeah, just
meet up with
maintaining,
people.
yeah, maintaining
And
relationships
mean,
with people who care about
this
you.
is something I'm not as good at, and it's really important for both of us. So I'm appreciative of that.
Oh, yes. Wonderful. If you could make one wish for the world, whether for people, nature, or the future, what would it be? Just right now?
A wish for people, nature in the future. I don't have one wish, but my wish would be that the world would try to start getting along better and we would all align for common interest and hopefully save our planet and respect it because we
Mm.
all love running and we love being in the mountains or at the sea or wherever. Everybody enjoys being outside. So it would be really wonderful if everybody could align together to protect that.
Yeah, maybe more of a global socialism of people working together for the betterment of
Everyone.
bringing up the bottom. I think is the most important. So, but it's a intimidating goal. But yeah, that would be like the ultimate wish, of course. So, yeah, it's difficult and it's a hard, confusing world sometimes that we're currently in.
Yeah, and so I think it's so important to have people like you both who are so inspiring and doing something for, yeah, to being inspiring for other people, for to do something that for our nature, to for the health and so much more. There's just a big thank you to both of you that for this insights today, for this great and for me inspiring conversation that you took the time. It took a little bit longer. I'm sorry for that, but I hope it was okay for you. It was wonderful, and I really appreciate that you both took the time today to come as a guest to my podcast. And I'm in the Pyrenees, and the end of September, maybe we will see each other there for a short hello.
Yeah,
And I say,
no, maybe even a coffee.
yeah,
Yeah.
a good. I really love coffee. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. That's not. Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks a lot.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
And
our
thank you
pleasure.
for the good questions. It's been nice to
Yeah.
talk with you.
Great questions.
Thank you. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. A big thank you again to Jess and Jim for their time, openness, and all the loss. It was a real pleasure. If you're curious to learn more, be sure to check out the documentary on Jim on YouTube. It's well worth the watch. You can also follow Jess and Jim on social media. All the links are in the show notes below. You will find also information about my own trail running camps and coaching offers. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and leaving a rating or review on your favorite platform. It really helps spread out the word. Thanks again for tuning in and see you next time. Bye bye.
Mehr Infos zu allen Angeboten findest du auf www.reiterflorian.at.